one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. Just gotta mean something, you. They gotta mean something. Everything you got. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2-3. 1, 2, 3.
Finish.
You ready to make history? Come on now. Yeah. You know, there's these two words. And when I say them, people get goosebumps because they know what happens next. So without further ado,
Free smoke.
look. Scared cause I'm drowning in silence with bad thoughts. These days I don't have nothing to say, man, the bag talks. I put in headphones on my driver. Pull up to the spot and give a good dick and Godiva. I can't lie, I'm uninspired. No more pillow talking about nonsense. I only stick around to put some band-aids on my conscience. I don't know why I feel so bad, nigga. That's what we do, no foundation. We don't build no more, we just screw. Half a bottle of Henny, girl, I'm going with the wind. The same niggas say they happy for me, ain't want me to win. So I'm done on my friends. Don't need help popping Coronas and reminiscing. I just call up Big Bro J and say it's time for venting. If I live forever, I hold this hate for some centuries. You don't know how much of how you doing would admit to me, but motherfuck all that. I don't even offer up the time to make the call back. Stupid Lodo, if they don't get the picture now, man, I crop them out of the photo. I can't relate to my peers. Been doing this shit for years. I'm motivated by fears. I took the wheel and I steer. My sound not dictated by fuck boys in Atlanta. Stay gifted like this album was ghost written by Santa. Boss forever like they decided to throw me under slammer. Every song's a hit like they picture me underhanders. I could drop 1,000,000 songs, but they never gon' understand us. Soapbox sermons for niggas never giving chances. Fight our whole lives to get these weak ass advances. Work twice as hard for the shit that they getting handed. And this ain't even nothing we chose, nigga, we branded. Still can't tell why all of these niggas mad at me. I'm trying to get 100 so I can put my team on salary. Give it all to the art, man, I turn my life to a gallery. Man, damn, what a fucked up masterpiece. 1,100 shots and I swear, man, I felt them all. If we ain't even good on our blocks, man, who can we call? Pre-decline state of mind, we broke crabs in the barrel. Got us fighting our folk, man, this shit just a life of peril.
Poor tackling.
What happened between you and Talib on the field early in the game?
I don't know. You gonna ask him because he didn't finish the game. Ice up, son. Ice up.
NFL Week 7. Bro, I feel like this thing just... It's moving. It's moving at such a rapid pace. How is everybody doing out there today, tonight, this afternoon? Whichever point in time you listening to this, I am your host, Saint. Welcome to the show. Yo, welcome to Kicking It with Saint. I appreciate you for joining me. You could have been anywhere else in the world. I could not get that out right there. Let me start over. You could have been anywhere else in the world. I couldn't do it again. You see that? I don't know what's going on. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you chose to be here with me, and I appreciate you for that. It feels so much better when you know what I'm saying, when you get it out there. I ain't even sick, you know. I was at work this week. Actually, it was last week. This white woman, I'm not going to tell y'all her name, and I'm not even going to tell you about her. Just know this white woman at work. She was walking around sick last week, right? And she kept coming to work. And she kept saying, I wasn't around nobody, so, I ain't gonna make nobody sick. Even though she always around everybody. She's like, well, I be in trucks by myself. I ain't gonna make nobody sick. I'm like, bro, do you know how many other people gonna get in that truck? So I just think it's weird how people are so careless with their health and whatnot. Not necessarily when it comes to them, but when it comes to making other people sick. And you can quickly see why the coronavirus spread it the way it did and why everything got shut down. So, let's be a little safer, fellas, ladies, people, humans, please. But with that being said, we got a lot to talk about. But before I get into these week predictions and the recap of the Thursday night game, I was watching ESPN. I was watching FS1 today, and I couldn't help but go past a video of what's his man's name? Colin Cowherd criticizing Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott beat Justin Herbert, yet Dak Prescott is the one being criticized. Justin Herbert is 26-26 in his career, I believe. He has made the playoff once. He has had weapons the entire time he's been in the NFL. You can keep making excuses to pick apart why he ain't this, why he ain't that. And then I could just go to another quarterback who's been just as successful with a different problem that should be holding him back. Yet, every single time this man lose, come up short, fall short of the victory of God. It's an excuse. Every time. They so quick to make an excuse. Every single time. I don't get it. Yet, you sit here and criticize Dak. And I'm not sitting here telling you Dak is a perfect quarterback. What I am sitting here and telling you is, for a guy who people have already thrown into the Hall of Fame in Justin Herbert, for him to be able to underachieve at the level he has underachieved at since he done been in the NFL and consistently have an excuse made for him. Not even legitimate excuses. Most people would want a coordinator that's put up the numbers with Justin Herbert as these coordinators done put up, but we blame them. I understand the problems in the Brandon Staley flaws and how he coach and whatnot. However, when they win, you don't have a problem with it. And what's real weird to me is when you look at you can look at the exact games, every single game that you feel like was cost, that Brandon Staley cost them. Look at how Justin Herbert played down the stretch in the majority of those games. You don't have 13 picks in the closing in crunch time of the fourth quarter for no reason. That's not just coaching. That's Justin Herbert. Yet, I never hear people get on TV. The people who supposed to be teaching us what we don't see, what we might not know, because they played the game or analyzed the game for so long. They get on TV and tell you, it's got to be the coaching. They got to get rid of Brandon Staley. They got to do something. Oh, now it's Kellen Moore. Oh, now it's the receivers. Like, at what point in time is there going to be somebody that gets on TV and is actually critical of Justin Herbert? Like, is it some thing going on in the media that us regular people don't know about? Like, you cannot be critical of certain white quarterbacks. Like, you can't talk down on Joe Burrow. Every time he loses, it's because of an injury or a coach or something else. You can't talk down on Justin Herbert. We've been using this head coach shit for the last couple years. What is going on? I just don't understand it. This man is religiously ranked in the top 5 of quarterbacks. You religiously go at Lamar Jackson for he can't win in the playoffs. Justin Herbert got one appearance. They lost after leading by a big margin in the game. And I never hear that same dialogue when it comes to Justin Herbert. But Colin Cowherd sat there and criticized Dak, a guy who almost religiously is in the playoffs. See, that's my problem. The media get to decide what is and is not important at the end of the day. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is winning the Super Bowl. But if we want to be honest and keep, and like we do in this society where we still congratulate other accomplishments, to constantly shit on Dak Prescott and other quarterbacks who constantly put their teams in position to win when everything don't go great around them, yet Justin Herbert has not done that. And we keep, well, not we. People continuously go on TV and praise him and make excuses as to why he keep falling short of the glory of God. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I really don't. Like, I don't understand how you can legitimately get on TV, still be this critical of Dak Prescott, and Justin Herbert just continuously get a free pass. Joe Burrow done had 2 of the worst games a quarterback done played this year, in my opinion. Injury. The calf. Makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. But let's get into the Week 7 matchups, bro. Before we get into the predicting of these games, however, we gotta talk about this Jags-Saints game. Now, yes, it was a pass that was dropped in this game that should have been caught. Yes, the Jaguars nearly gave up this game. But what I want to talk about in this game specifically is, for one, shout out Trevor Lawrence. Had a great game. Shout out to the Jags defense. Had a great game. Even though they did about let this thing go in the second half. Good win. I want to talk about Derek Carr and Jameis Winston and just furthering my, because I need to understand. If I take Jameis Winston's, let's just take his season where he threw for the crazy amount of yards, touchdowns, and picks, right? I could say that's a better year than any year Derek Carr done had. Yet, at the level he done underachieved at, he continuously is given starting opportunities. The media continuously get on, and that's probably one of my biggest problems with the media. You can see what you're seeing, and the media will continuously get on TV and tell you it's not Derek Carr. It's everything around him. Derek Carr is a great quarterback. Derek Carr is a winning quarterback. And that is just not the case. And this is my problem when it comes to how are they judging these quarterbacks? They are so critical of Lamar Jackson, a guy who actually you can see is a needle mover when it comes to his team winning. But you look at Derek Carr and you don't see that. But they keep making excuses as to why he can't be that, why he isn't that, why the record ain't showing what they telling you supposed to be seeing. It makes no sense. When you watch Derek Carr, he is his average, bro. He plays no better than a quarterback across the field from him. And I'm not talking about if a Pat Mahomes across the field from him. You expect him to not outplay Pat Mahomes. You expect him to not outplay Joe Burrow. You expect him to not outplay Josh Allen. You expect him to not outplay Lamar Jackson. But you expect him to outplay a CJ Stroud. You expect him to outplay a Mac Jones. You expect him to outplay rookie quarterbacks in their second years. But that's just not the case. Derek Carr play down to their level or just barely above it, or more times than not, below it. Yet, dudes in the media continue to tell you Derek Carr a good quarterback. Derek Carr threw 55 passes last week, in this game. Threw for about 5 yards an attempt. So a lot of dinking and dunking. Yet we saying the reason they lost this game is because a dude dropped the ball. I don't get it. Derek Carr had weapons in Vegas/Oakland. He has weapons now. Derek Carr is not a rising tide. He does not make players better around him. And oftentimes than not, Derek Carr is not affected by the talent that he has at this point in his career. Meaning, Derek Carr gonna go out there and do whatever the hell Derek Carr do. It don't make a difference if it's talent out there or not. He either gonna play the way he always play, average to below, or he might have a good game. It's not dependent on the talent at his disposal anymore. That is how inconsistent he is. He is a roller coaster. It's up and down, up and down. You cannot rely on Derek Carr. However, the Saints signed him in the offseason. The Jets toyed around with signing him as if he was truly a needle mover. Yet it's a dude in Jameis Winston who's been benched for the last couple years. And I don't understand how a guy like Baker, a guy like Ryan Tannehill, a guy like Mac Jones, like it's so many. I don't want to shit on all these quarterbacks, but you can't give me legitimate reasons as to why these dudes is starting over Jameis Winston right now. The quarterback that he is starting behind right now, you cannot give me a legitimate reason why he is sitting behind that Derek Carr. Yet we continue to see Derek Carr play down to the level of competition or below it, and people continue to hop on TV and tell you why it wasn't Derek Carr's fault. At what point in time are y'all gonna hold these white quarterbacks to a legitimate, real standard, bro? Cause I mean, fuck, my guy. This is why I get irritated with the media. Because I'm sitting here listening to them criticize Lamar Jackson every chance they get. Criticize Dak every chance they get. These is two dudes who win. Oh, they ain't won a Super Bowl yet. Neither have the quarterbacks y'all keep defending. Last time I checked, Derek Carr didn't have a ring. Neither did Joe Burrow. Oh, but he went. But did he win? But for some reason, that standard is only put on those African-American quarterbacks. For these white quarterbacks y'all keep defending who have not won at any level. And this is at this level. But one of my biggest problems is, what is the excuse that you give for Derek Carr? Because I said that Justin Herbert only been to the playoffs once, and y'all keep making excuses for him, and he didn't even win when he got there. Bro, Derek Carr done been in the league longer than Justin Herbert, and his resume is about the same when it comes to that. 2 playoff appearances. I understand he was hurt in one. Ain't won neither one of those games. He been in the league for a decade plus now. But yeah, the Saints was going to be a better team because everything that went wrong in Oakland/Vegas, none of it was Derek Carr. It was never how Derek Carr played. That's what they keep getting on TV and telling you. Yet Colin Cowherd is on his show constantly going at Dak Prescott. When the quarterback that just lost is underachieving at a greater level than Dak Prescott. And I don't even know how you can say Dak Prescott is truly underachieving. Like, I understand last year you might have said, come on, bro, you got to play better in that game. He was not drafted in the first round or in the second. But he got expectations of a quarterback that was drafted first in the draft. Just like Lamar. Neither of them were. Justin Herbert was a top pick in that first round. Yet I never hear. And y'all constantly love to say, oh, you should have took him over. The Dolphins should have took him over Tua. Should have took him over. The Dolphins doing pretty damn good with Tua right now. And y'all love to keep breaking this down to individual player success because that's the only way you can hold Herbert on a pedestal by bringing in his individual stats that is accumulated by having other great players around him. But nonetheless, who is winning at the higher level on a more consistent basis, giving their team a chance to be a Super Bowl contender? That is Tua, not Herbert. But they'll keep getting on TV, criticizing Tua, criticizing Dak, criticizing Lamar, and giving you excuses as to why these other white quarterbacks are not accomplishing or achieving at the level they should supposed to be achieving at. It's real interesting. And then you'll get some doofus-ass white dude in the comments, why you got to bring race into it, ignoring all of that blatant, obvious stuff that's going on. This is why you got to understand racist people are some of the biggest morons on God's green earth, bro. Anyways, week 7. We in there. Week 7 of the NFL. It feel like I said, this thing is just moving along, man. Before you know it, it'll be no NFL once again. And it's always rough when that happens. But while it's here, we're going to enjoy it. Tampa Bay, they at home. Taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Me and Mr. Hobbs both have taken Tampa Bay. Now, I'm not really confident in Tampa Bay in this game. Neither is Henry. But we both feel it's like, I don't think Baker will have some crazy game, but I think Baker should play good enough. There's enough talent on this Tampa Bay team to where they should be able to beat Desmond Ridder and this Atlanta Falcons team. But on top of that, I believe that Desmond Ridder will continue this downslope of bad play. And I do believe he could throw up a couple. I'm not a real fan of the secondary of Tampa Bay. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not addicted to their secondary whatsoever. But because they are at home and Desmond Ridder has played so bad, and I have less faith in him than I have in Baker Mayfield, this is, to me, not that tough a game to predict. I do think. Now, listen, this is a divisional game. So it would not be out of the realm of possibility that Tampa Bay, that this is a close game, that somehow Tampa Bay find a way to blow it at the end, because this is still Baker Mayfield at the quarterback, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot forget that, okay? And do you know how many times he done strayed left from the glory of God? But anyways, me and Henry both got Tampa Bay. Detroit, Baltimore, we both got Baltimore. You know I'm not picking against my squad, but listen to me. Lamar show up for these type of games. And I'm telling you right now, Baltimore, he hear all the talk. I'm pretty sure he could care less about it, but Baltimore hear all the talk. They know the game they coming in. I got faith in everybody on this team aside from the receivers. All right, listen to me again. I got faith in everybody on this team aside from the receivers. With that being said, they'll get it done on Sunday. The defense, to me, in Baltimore is better than the I really think this will be a tougher game for Jared Goff, but I'm interested to see how the tackling is for Baltimore, because as long as Baltimore understand it's very scripted offense for Detroit, and I understand they won't have Montgomery in this game, but because of how they run up this offense, if you don't get them off of their what they want to do early, they'll be able to do that all game, and Detroit will have lulls in this game. I do believe Baltimore ultimately, though, is the better team. And I believe I know Lamar the better quarterback. But I believe this is a game that Lamar Jackson and that offense is going to show up for and show you. I believe this is one of them games that Lamar Jackson is saying, nah, we not losing this game. And I could care less that it's at home. It could have been in Detroit, and I would have still picked the Ravens in this game. I feel like Baltimore understands this is a statement game. Baltimore is going to win this game. Vegas, Chicago. Now, wait a minute. Let me make sure they say Vegas, bro. Yeah, it's Vegas. I'm taking Vegas. Henry's taking Chicago. I think he just being a homer. He think that backup quarterback played decent last week. I don't base nothing off of the back end of games. I don't take the back end of games important because nobody got a playbook when you come in late in the game sometimes. Both starting quarterbacks will be out of this game. Jimmy Garoppolo will be out, as will Justin Fields. So, not much really to talk about. I just think the better... This is a tough one. I think Josh Jacobs in this offense can have a bigger game for Vegas. Plus, technically, Vegas is still playing for something. Chicago know they're not making the playoffs. Vegas is still technically playing for something, even though I think it's very foolish that they are still trying to play for something. And I now understand that Max Crosby will probably be on this roster to the end of the season, and that is just fucking stupid. But I'm taking Vegas. Henry is taking Chicago. Washington, New York, the Giants. Henry's taking the Giants. I'm taking Washington. Bro, I told you, I'm not taking the Giants in the game. Watching the Giants, they did look better with Tyrod. I think that got a lot to do with the fact, though, that the Bills' offense could not score. I think that had a lot to do with it. If the Bills' offense could have scored, I don't think this game is as close as it played out to be. But the Bills' offense had one of them nights where they was just struggling to score. I do not believe... This will be a sloppy game, and I understand it's a divisional game. I actually think Washington going to end up winning this game by probably 2 touchdowns. And the only reason I had this suspicious feeling is because as good as Tyrod might have played last week, because nobody will be watching this game, I have a feeling it's going to be a shit fest. And that Washington's defense will probably have one of their better games of the season this week. This is going to be one of them, they have 4 games out of a season, maybe 5, where they just show up and show out. I think this will be one of the games. I think Tyrod going to make a lot of mistakes. See, last week they was playing against the Bills. That's a team that they showed up because they wanted to beat the head coach's former team for the day ball. I don't think that's going to be the case this week. Washington is technically still playing for something. The Giants are not making the playoffs. I think Washington comes out and wins this game. And as crazy as it sounds, I actually think they're going to win this one pretty convincingly. I actually think Sam Howell had a decent game last week. I know he didn't throw for a lot of yards, but he still had a good game in my opinion. I know in today's NFL, if you don't throw for 300 yards plus, then they don't think you had a good game. I just think that's very ignorant. But whatever. Buffalo, New England. We are both taking New England. Lord Jesus, Buffalo. Me and Henry both think the same thing pretty much, bro. This is a get-right game for Buffalo. It's nothing like if you struggling and you Buffalo, you see New England on the schedule. You know what I'm saying? Because we done talked about all these different people that's done strayed left from the glory of God. But the Bills ain't one of them teams when they get to see. But they done something right in the Lord. In the Lord. They are right with the Lord. They are right with the gods above. Because Every time they play New England, it seemed like they whoop their ass. Every time. It's like a blessing from God that they have New England on their schedule twice a year. Because every single time they see them on there, it don't matter what they was going through the week before. They know that's the get right game. We're going to get our yards up. We're going to pad them stats. We're going to make the defense look better. The offense is going to look better. Josh Allen about to be right back in the MVP conversation after this game. I'm telling you right now, if you looking at the schedule and you saying, I wonder what game going to be an ass whooping this week. Look no further than Buffalo, New England. And I know what you're saying. Well, they in New England, Saint. This could be a close game. That's not how God works. When God sends you a blessing, you accept it. Buffalo about to beat the dog shit out of New England. For one, New England done looked progressively worse every single week. Did you not see Buffalo play this team in higher stakes games and mock them? It's going to be a long week for New England, bro. You want to know what's crazy? Name another coach that could put together the string of games that Bill Belichick about to put together and keep their job. But not too many head coaches got that resume. That's what people yelling in the back. Cleveland, Indy. I don't know if Deshaun Watson is playing this week. Henry think he is. I haven't read a report that says he is yet, so I'm not for sure. I'm not going to say whether he is or isn't. I do know for a fact that this is the end of the season. Like, no more Anthony Richardson this season. So it's going to be easy to pick against them the rest of the season. Me and Henry are both taking Cleveland. I think Cleveland's defense will just be way too much for this Indy team. I do think they'll still have a decent game running the ball, Indy, because that's literally all they can do. But Cleveland should end up winning this game. And Cleveland's defense is keeping them in the race for the AFC. So shout out to Cleveland's defense. Those were all the 1 o'clock games. These are the 4 o'clock games coming up. Arizona, Seattle. Obviously, me and Henry both are taking Seattle. Seattle should have won that game last week. They really have to figure. Now, Arizona will come out fast in this game. Me and Henry both think that. But they'll eventually remember we need that number 1 pick, or we want one of the higher picks in the draft, and they will end up losing. I did see the report that Kyler Murray is practicing again, so shout out to young Yoda. But my thing with Seattle is that offense has to figure out, like, what do we want to do on a weekly basis? I think they need to take the handcuffs off of Geno Smith and just trust him. You already paid him. Like, let that man go out there and be a quarterback. He got the talent. If he didn't have the talent that he had at his disposal, then I would be like, okay, I understand the type of game call we doing. But, bro, this let's let him play loose sometimes. Okay, let's restrain him here and there. Like, bro, you have to let him and those dudes have more control of this offense. I'm starting to see these coordinators, the offenses that are not led by the offensive head coaches that are like real legit guru, like the Mike Daniels, the Shanahans, the Andy Reids. These offenses are being held back by the head coach that's probably like a defensive mind, but it's another dude calling the plays. The Seahawks offense is being held back. I can only imagine what Kyle Shanahan will be doing with the exact offense that the Seahawks have right now. Don't change any other players. Just switch the coaches. And I'm not taking a shot at Pete Carroll. I done already apologized and said I was wrong for some of the shots I took at him earlier on the shows before. However, the lack of creativity and consistency in this offense is one of the things that's holding Seattle back. And I'm only imagining. It's easy to say it also because when I imagine what this offense could be with Kyle Shanahan at the disposal, or Andy Reid, or somebody else who is a legitimate offensive mind. And I understand it's hard to get a great offensive coordinator because the best offensive coordinators are head coaches right now. However, you got to figure something out because you should have beat Seattle last week. I mean, you should have beat Cincinnati last week. You probably should have beat the Rams. You keep losing games because you cannot figure out how to keep scoring points and how to score them consistently. And you got teams in your division that know how to score, specifically the 49ers. Now, Seattle will more than likely be a playoff team. However, is the goal to make the playoffs or the goal to win a Super Bowl? You got to fix these kinks early if you're going to legitimately be a Super Bowl contending team. And while the defense is not always what I wanted to be throughout the entirety of the games for Seattle, they played a hell of a game last week against the Bengals. A hell of a game. And I saw the thing where the rookie tweeted like, yo, what's the dude's name? Chase. He was telling Chase while he talking when like he said, I locked you up, boy, or something like that. He not lying. Pittsburgh is in LA taking on the Rams. The Rams win this game. The Rams will have spots in this game where it's like, bro, what is going on right now? But that's because the Rams have a bad defense. However, the Rams offense is fluid. Okay? We had big games last week. 100-plus yard receiver, 100-plus yard running back. Matt Stafford had a good game. It was all clicking. When you give Sean McVay a great run game, he can figure it all. He can figure everything else out on offense. Now, it is kind of disappointing that when the offense started to figure it out, they don't have a great defense. I always say it's a shame Aaron Donald done played the majority of his career without another legitimate superstar on that line with him. I know he done had some decent to great players. Specifically, the greatest player he done played in alongside is Von Miller. And I know he done had other good players and, good players around him, but never anything other than Von Miller that 1 year. But I do still expect the Rams to win this game. Listen, Pittsburgh, I don't know how teams get as lucky as Pittsburgh and Cincinnati do. Specifically Pittsburgh. But hell, that luck, I just cannot bank on a team that's trying to figure out every single week how are we going to score a touchdown, let alone multiple touchdowns. I don't know how they do it. The run game is not good. It's not consistent. The pass game is not good, and it's not consistent. The offensive line is not good, and it ain't been consistent in years. And I don't think Kenny Pickett is good, and he's not consistent. So every single time, and you can only rely on your defense, which, mind you, it's not like Pittsburgh got a defense that's phenomenal on all three levels of the defense. They got great players, specifically pass rushers. So at some point in time, I understand Mike Tomlin is don't finish under 500. At some point in time, it might not be this year. The Steelers are going to finish under 500. And the Steelers might need to finish way under 500 in order to replace the quarterback position legitimately. But we both taking the Rams. The Chargers are in Kansas City taking on the Chiefs. Henry got KC. I am actually taking the Chargers. Now, I know what you're saying. After everything you just said about Justin Herbert, yeah, what I said about him ain't got nothing to do with my pick. I'm picking Justin Herbert a lot, though, because of what I said about him. He got to win this game. They have to win this game, and they seem to like beating the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. So they have to win this game. They are taking themselves way out of playoff contention with too many more of these losses, especially when you're starting to pile up divisional losses. So they have to win this game. I don't think that Kansas City's offense is good enough to compete with a good offense when it's there for the Chargers. The Chargers offense, if it is clicking on all cylinders, should be able to put up more points than the Chiefs offense that is trying to figure out on a weekly basis how to score points because they have not been the prolific offense they've been in recent years. Kansas City's defense, however, is pretty damn good this year. And while they can be, Kansas City haven't really played against no prolific offenses, in my opinion. And they have, I know people use the Lions, but I don't really feel like their offense done been tested to the max unless I'm forgetting a game. I think this could be one of them games. This is the thing, though. Justin Herbert played for a lot of completions. If he can't turn those completions into touchdowns, won't matter. Pat Mahomes will be in the game far too long and end up making a comeback. However, because I think the Chargers defense will play a good game. If Justin Herbert can turn all these different completions and pretty passes into actual touchdowns and play good late in the game and when they get in the red zone, the Chargers should win this game, in my opinion. Green Bay and Denver. Now, I don't like this game, specifically because Green Bay is pissing me off with how bad this offense done look. But I'm not taking Denver, and neither is Henry. But we both are taking Green Bay. Now, I understand Denver's defense don't look bad and all that. But listen, what you have to understand is, even with Denver's defense looking bad, they can have spots in this game where they look good throughout the duration of the game. The thing that's going to kill Denver is the fact that Green Bay's defense is going to play a good game. And Russ will probably throw a couple interceptions. I feel bad for Russ because he basically having to play a game where it's dink and dunk and play a safe route. Try not to throw turnovers, but when the turnover happened, because inevitably inevitably it'll happen when you try to play this type of way and other teams have big chunk plays and you have to start searching for them and forcing them. This is a thing that inevitably I'm not going to keep doing it. This is a thing that happens. And Green Bay is the type of defense where this can happen. Now, I'm not sure if Jair Alexander will be healthy and be back, but I think he will be. And Green Bay is coming off of a bye week, I think, or coming off of a long rest week. So I'm definitely taking Green Bay in this game. The Sunday night game, Miami, Philly. This is going to be a great game. And I am taking the Dolphins. As is Henry. I did not realize that. Now, I like Philly. And this is going to be a close game in my opinion because I don't like the Dolphins defense. Chubb played a great game last week, and the Dolphins defense is playing better. I just feel as though they are not the type of defense that the Jets are. So they won't suffocate that Eagles offense the way that the Jets did. There will be opportunities there for the Eagles. This won't be one of them games where they playing a close, tight-knit game because nobody can score. If this is a close game, it's because it's going to be a shootout, which is what I'm leaning towards, really feeling like this is going to be. Because I don't believe the Eagles secondary will have a great game against this Miami Dolphins team. Passing game. I don't think they'll get to Tua as much as they need to slow this passing game down either. And I also think they'll be able to throw the ball. And then when it comes to the Eagles, I believe they'll be able to run the ball on this Miami defense, which will lead to them being able to throw the ball on this Miami defense. So I actually think this is about to be a shootout either way. I just think because of how great Tua is playing right now, and Tyreek and seemingly nobody can guard the man, I have to take the Dolphins. Dolphins just playing so good right now. And I think the type of defense that's going to take to beat the Dolphins is not what the Eagles are putting on the field right now. And that's no shot at the Eagles. But I do believe this is about to be a back-to-back. And it's tough because the Eagles lost last week, so it's hard to pick the Eagles to lose 2 games in a row. But I don't believe this is a matchup disadvantage for the Eagles because I don't believe either defense will play a great game. I just feel like, and it's crazy saying this because you look at who the Eagles have on defense. But I just believe, and the Eagle crowd, I'm pretty sure going to be nuts. But I just believe that the Miami Dolphins offense has a little bit more right now. And the 49ers Vikings, the Monday night football game in Minnesota. I'm taking the 49ers. I'm not sure. We're going to see more on if Christian McCaffrey is all right, if he'll be playing that game, if Debo will be playing that game. Not quite sure who is all in that game yet. Me and Henry both are taking the 49ers. Specifically, I think the Vikings are starting to realize they might need to start losing some games to try to get in the running for Caleb Williams or a good quarterback. I think they realizing that's where they at with their franchise, where it's at the end of this Kirk Cousins road. They probably not going to say it out loud right now, but I think they've come to the realization that, yeah, this Kirk Cousins thing will run its course. It's about time for us to start. Because I told you, Minnesota was living in the middle for so long. They weren't great. They weren't bad. They were just average. And that's the worst place to be in a sport because you don't draft high enough to get a great pick, a surefire hit. And you're not a consistently great enough team to where a free agent's going to always want to sign with you because they know you're going to be legitimately a title contender. So, and of course, you're not a title contender. So, I think right now Minnesota is in one of the absolute worst spots you can be in because when you look at Chicago, that's just a bad team. They know they bad. They can only go up. With Minnesota, you can go down, you can go up. That's the worst place to be. So right now they treading towards being just straight bad. If they continue this trend, and if they crank up this trend to being bad, I think they only got 1 win on the season. They could end up in that Caleb Williams sweepstakes also. And I imagine if Kyler Murray is healthy and the Cardinals want to keep him, they might end up taking themselves out of that sweepstakes anyways. So if you are the Minnesota Vikings, I'm not going to lie to you. You might need to try to trade Kirk Cousins to the Jets or see if it's a trade partner out there so you can try to compete for that. Because in all honesty, you really got to take the choice out of Chicago's hands and make them regret giving away that pick last year. because if they don't have, let's say Chicago finished with the first 2 picks in the draft, but Carolina end up winning some games. Because all it'll take is for Carolina to win 2 games and for Minnesota not to win another fucking game this year. And for the Bears to win 1 more game. And just like that, Minnesota got the first pick and the Bears got 2-3. So if I'm Minnesota, I'm thinking long and hard, pause, about if I don't want to go after Caleb Williams. That's just my thoughts. But with that, I appreciate you for joining me on another episode of Kicking It With Saint. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. You could be anything in the world. Choose to be kind to somebody today. And go listen to that Corday Color, Dream in Color. That is my shit. I fuck with you. I love you. Go out there, make somebody's day. Treat somebody the way you would want to be treated. Love, love, love the fuck out of somebody today. Go out there and love those who love you. Appreciate those who love you. And like, subscribe, and share. I appreciate y'all for doing that in the first place. Continue to like and continue to share. Have conversations with me in the comment section. I respond to damn near all the comments. Sometimes I might see your comments early, so I might be too tired to comment, so I might just like it and whatnot. But most of the time, I'm going to leave a comment under there to talk to you and let you know I appreciate you. And if it's something you say in there that might need me to a response that carry on a dialogue, I'm more than likely going to do that also. So, hey, listen. Comment, like, subscribe, share this with a friend. Go tell a friend, yo, I know this up and coming sports channel that is gonna be big one day, bro. You gotta come and check him out, bro. He be spitting straight facts with no filter right now. One day when we get big, yo, we gonna have to eventually put a filter on this thing, but right now he's spitting it straight raw. But I appreciate the support. I truly do. Tell somebody you fuck with him. Tell somebody you love them. Saint out.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, you know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy, scoop her up like I'm raking her something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber, you out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.